Louisiana. The local sheriff says the first crash alone involved 18 tractor trailers. Bowen Kadrovitz is in Acres, Louisiana, alongside I-55. Bowen, tell us the latest.
Dawn, the Louisiana State Police say that they started receiving calls around 9 a.m. this morning with multiple car collisions on I-55. And you can see behind me right now, you may be able to see some of the crew vehicles and their lights as they still work to clear I-55 here. Now, earlier this morning, the local sheriff's department did say 2 were dead and dozens more were injured during this pileup. But the Louisiana State Police say they are not confirming that. Now, here is a scene from earlier today where you can see cars, trucks, and SUVs pinned in tight. Meteorologist says a dense fog combined with smoke from wildfires creates zero visibility in some spots. Fox 8 in New Orleans reports deputies had to run along the road to reach some of the crash sites since their patrol cars could not get through. Some people are still waiting for their friends or family to make it off the interstate. One woman tells Fox her stepdaughter and granddaughter were involved in the pileup.
LaPlace, Louisiana this morning. Nicole, obviously this is a very tragic situation, but unfortunately it's still an active situation.
Britta, really still just a horrific scene here just outside LaPlace, Louisiana. We're just along U.S. Highway 51, which actually parallels the Manchac Bridge and I-55 here, the portion that, of course, remains shut down today. And I can tell you, as the sun comes up this morning, I can make out several of the hundreds of cars that are still sitting on this highway, or this interstate, I should say, that are completely mangled, incinerated, and are waiting to be towed away by the many emergency vehicles you can see behind me. I will step out of the way to give you a visual of, sadly, really a devastating picture there. Just beneath what you see I-55 there, that bridge, you'll notice one car that was pushed off of the guardrail. Louisiana State Police confirming that person was the one of 7 killed in this deadly pileup Monday morning. And of course, officials worry that number could continue to rise throughout the day today as nearly 30 others are injured and are nearby hospitals. But this was just a deadly and very devastating situation. I mean, more than 100 people stranded on this bridge for several hours, as it was a real challenge for emergency responders to get to them. Some of them even had to walk along that bridge to try to get to that crash scene. More than 30 of them reported, but when you look at some of the video that we've been getting in, it almost looks like just one massive chain reaction crash with that super fog and that zero visibility. Those drivers couldn't even see a foot or two in front of them, and they were likely just slamming into cars that had already either been involved in a crash or come to a stop to try to avoid it. And that's why you see those cars piled on top of each other. But as we talk about the concern today with a renewed dense fog advisory, really we see officials sort of taking action to try to prevent a repeat of that. We know that several schools across the New Orleans area now have delayed start times today to try to give parents some more time to get their kiddos to school, do it safely, maybe find or use one of the alternate routes we know have thankfully now been opened up to try to alleviate some of the traffic that was caused by this yesterday. We know I-10 is going to be one of the biggest alternate routes for those drivers as they try to move around today this morning. But that cleanup continues today, Britta. It's a painstaking process, but once we see all of those cars and those semis, many of those that we saw burst into flames, finally removed from the Manchac Bridge.
Pileup in Louisiana. Transportation officials are investigating after a so-called super fog lowered visibility so much that dozens of cars crashed on an interstate near New Orleans. Trevor Alt is here with the story. Good morning, Trevor.
Good. Hazardous conditions were likely caused by smoke from marsh fires burning nearby, mixed with already dense fog permeating the atmosphere, making it extremely difficult to see. Visibility in some spots dropping to near zero. This time-lapse video showing the dramatic approach as it rolled across the region. Casey Tuso witnessed the pileup, saying she noticed a truck quickly approaching in her rearview mirror.
I was able to move out of their way somehow. There were I mean, 90% of the cars that were surrounding me were hit.
That collision sparking multiple fires.
Everything got a little bit more chaotic, and tires started popping and from the fires and everything.
Last March, a similar situation played out in Florida. Police say super fog captured on this drone video led to 3 fatalities and a 15-car pileup on I-95.
And this pileup in Louisiana was so large it shut down 3 highways. And this morning, officials say a 24-mile stretch of I-55 is going to remain shut down for the foreseeable future.
Outside New Orleans.
This is still a very fluid situation.
Overnight, police confirming at least 7 people died and dozens more were injured after at least 158 vehicles were involved in the devastating crash during Monday's morning commute. Louisiana State Police say morning fog and smoke from nearby wildfires combined to create a super fog, limiting visibility for motorists on I-55.
It spans about a mile's distance and is broken down into several other crashes.
These shocking images from above showing a mass of mangled vehicles below. Emergency crews responding to the horrific scene, involving multiple 18-wheelers engulfed in flames. The pileup shutting down the interstate in both directions and stranding some motorists for hours.
I'm still shaking.
Speaking from a nearby hospital, Clarencia Reedus says
can actually do right now is to pray for those people.